Directors General play an important role in ensuring accountability in executive branch agencies, and whistleblowers are a key tool in combating waste, fraud, and abuse within government. But IGs have a responsibility to conduct investigations in a fair, timely, and accountable manner, and whistleblower complaints cannot be used to shield a civilian or military member from accountability for substandard performance. The recent case of Rear Admiral Brian Losey, who was forced to end his stellar career as a Navy SEAL after a lengthy series of IG investigations and political maneuvering, raises significant questions regarding the IG process, the erosion of military command authority, and the treatment of an officer who gave so much for our country. Losey's 30-year career sent him all around the globe to defend our nation. The habitual deployments as a junior officer, going to Afghanistan shortly after the 9/11 attacks, serving multiple deployments in Iraq, commanding the famed SEAL Team 6. His final duty assignment was to serve as the commander of WARCOM, which oversees all Navy SEALs. Retired Admiral and Navy SEAL William McRaven has written that Losey is, quote, "without a doubt one of the finest officers with whom I have ever served. Over the past 15 years, no officer I know in the SEAL teams has given more to this country than Brian Losey," end quote. There are very few Americans who have given as much to our country as Brian Losey. Yet, Losey's career was cut short following a flurry of lengthy investigations conducted by the DoD IG and intervention by a handful of U.S. senators. In 2011, Losey assumed command at the Special Operations Command Africa, SOC Africa, which was a relatively new command that was still trying to become capable of dealing with the growing threats emanating from the African continent. The command was based in Stuttgart, Germany, and the command featured a small number of staffers who had grown accustomed to the relaxed European lifestyle. Upon assuming command, Losey faced a situation in which the command was not performing at the level required. He saw a need to improve the command and change the prevailing culture. It would not necessarily be easy to do so, but it was necessary to do so. Meanwhile, an anonymous whistleblower filed a complaint against Losey, alleging that he illicitly flew his daughter to Germany at taxpayer expense. The complaint was bogus in every respect. Not only did Losey not fly his daughter to Germany on the taxpayer's dime, he was actually entitled to do so if he so chose under the existing travel regulations. Nevertheless, the existence of this complaint, combined with Losey's befuddlement regarding the complaint, cast a shadow over Losey's attempts to take action to reform SOC Africa, as he was accused of retaliating against whistleblowers who filed additional complaints as Losey undertook his actions. The Navy conducted an IG investigation and found that Losey's actions were justified on the merits and did not constitute unlawful reprisals. He subsequently earned a promotion to Rear Admiral Upper Half, a 2-star billet, and was assigned to command WARCOM. A review of the command climate commissioned by the commander of AFRICOM found that Losey was, quote, "the right man for the job at this time," end quote, and cited, quote, "pockets of resistance within the command to the new course charted by Losey." The DoD IG conducted its own investigation, included that some of Losey's actions were reprisals for the whistleblower complaint. Although the IG investigation was required by law to be concluded in 180 days, the Losey investigation, multiple investigations, dragged on for years, delaying his ascension to 2-star admiral for 2 years. The Navy reviewed the findings of the DoD IG and determined that the personnel actions initiated by Losey were not reprisals, but a legitimate exercise of command authority. A group of U.S. senators, though, rejected the Navy's findings and sought to engineer Losey's ouster. Using legislative leverage, they effectively forced the hand of the Secretary of Navy, who revoked Losey's promotion, thereby short-circuiting a storied career. This is a tragic outcome that's failed to do justice to one of America's top warriors, and the whole ordeal raises questions about how the whistleblower process functions. For one thing, the main whistleblower complaints that Losey violated travel regulations by flying his daughter to Europe and that Losey created a, quote, toxic command climate were both factually false. He paid for his daughter's trip and actually was entitled to have the trip funded by the Navy. And the AFRICOM report compiled by Lieutenant General Ray Palumbo found that SOC AFRICOM was, quote, trending along a path of improvement under Rear Admiral Losey's leadership, vision, and direction, end quote. Yet the procedural and investigator aftermath of these baseless complaints culminated in Losey losing his career. Second, the filing of false reports can undermine command authority. At a minimum, there was a dispute between the Navy and the DOGIG about whether Losey's actions were legitimate actions undertaken by a military commander. A false IG complaint under these circumstances can be used as a weapon to make core command decisions a more risky proposition. Third, the years-long investigative process left Admiral Losey in a perpetual state of uncertainty and was contrary to the 180-day mandate. Doesn't an officer who has given so much for our country deserve to have matters such as these resolved within the time frame enumerated by the law? How is the IG held accountable for consistently failing to abide by the 180-day requirement? Fourth, much was made over the course of the investigations regarding the leadership style of Brian Losey. He certainly ruffled feathers at SOC Africa, but do we want commanders to demand too much or too little? The mark of a good commander is whether the mission gets successfully executed, not whether everyone's feelings are taken into account. Today, we will hear from several witnesses who have experience in IG investigations, including the Principal Deputy IG for the Department of Defense, Mr. Fine. We will also hear from my colleague, Ryan Zinke from Montana. Ryan is a retired Navy SEAL captain who commanded SEAL Team 6 and who has a keen understanding of the challenges facing our Special Operation Force commanders. I thank you all for attending, and with that, I will now recognize Ranking Member Lynch for his opening statement.